Do you love quilting, but you want to mix it up a little bit? Today I'm going to show you how to make two unique blocks. One is the Ohio Star. The other one is a simple silhouette of the state of Ohio. But both of these blocks are going to have a crazy quilt twist. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am combining traditional quilting with a touch of crazy quilt magic. I'll be walking you through two blocks, the Ohio Star quilt block, and the other one is just a simple one, any state you want, but I'm doing the state of Ohio, and it's just a cutout of the state of Ohio. Everything is made with scrap fabrics. Each block will be made with scraps that you probably already have from your scrap pile, right? And some easy techniques that will make quilting fun and simple. We need simple, right? You don't need a lot of fancy tools, just your fabric scraps, the P44F Pellon interfacing, batting, a backing fabric, and I'm going to show you how to join the blocks. So you'll need a 2-inch strip, 2-inch wide strip of seam binding, not very long, because we're just combining two today. I'll be showing you how to join the blocks using the cover strip method by Pattern Pool. And I will leave a link in the description box below to that video. So let's get quilting. Let's get crazy quilting. To get started, I printed off a 6-inch block of the Ohio Star quilt block just for reference. And then I printed this off. It's just an outline of the state of Ohio. For my Ohio Star quilt block, I have some 2-inch squares, just in abundance. I have some strips and some half triangles. All I did was I cut these into a triangle and then cut those triangles in half. I have my state of Ohio cutouts. Let's see if I can show you that. And it's just on fabric. And I'll show you once we get to that block. Here is for our first block. We have the Pellon, the batting, and for the backing fabric, I'm just using this. It's like a muslin, but it was printed on. It has newspaper print on the back, but you can just use simple muslin. I'm just trying to use up fabric. So I'm going to take my Pellon with the adhesive side up, figure out where the center is, and this is an 8-inch piece of Pellon, so it should be fairly simple to figure that out. And right there is the center. And I'm just going to have this beside me so I can use it as a reference. I need to figure out what I want to start with for the center. And I think I'll start with this. And I'll need to fold this and fold it again to get that center. And I'll just poke that in and then poke that in the center. And now we have our first block on, and it's this one. And I'm just using up my red, white, and blue fabrics from the summer. Feel free to use any of your fabric scraps. And what's nice about this, these are 2-inch. A lot of fabric scraps can be made into 2-inch strips or 2-inch squares. And then we want to fill in around. So that will be any of the triangles that we cut. We could do this. And then do this. Now keep in mind, I am not a good cutter. So you don't have to be good at this. This is going to be wonky and it's going to be a crazy quilt. And a lot of these seams will be covered up with thread. So it will be perfectly fine. Just have fun with it. We'll take one of these. And I think I'll put this over here. Maybe I want this down here to match what's up here. The next thing, we have this, and this. And if you want, you can mark it off so you know what you're working with. Then we need 2 triangles here, 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 and here. So you can mix it up again. If you want, you could go ahead and place your square that's going to go in the corner right here. That will go right there. I was just going to use these pieces for the squares. Then you could continue to fill in. We need a triangle here. And you can already see I'm a little bit off, but we're not going to worry about it. And then we need a piece down here, and that could be this. Then you could take this here. That might be 2 of them. That's why we're off. There we go. Then we could put this here. And how about one of these here? We'll repeat on this side. See how fast this is going together. And then we'll put this one here. And then we used one of these over here, so we'll do that. Then we'll need the 2 triangles for here. So I think we'll do this. This one looks a little short. Maybe if we try this one. There we go. I told you I couldn't cut. And then this one is down here, so I think I'll take one more and put it here. Don't spend a lot of time, but just kind of look at it and see if that's what you had in mind. And then we'll add a border. So go ahead and lay a border down that you might want. I had just cut these strips here. And these are 8-inch long strips. But you could use anything that you have. So I might put that here. Then I just need to snip this piece. So that it fits at the top. There we go. And then snip this one at the bottom. And that's what it looks like. I have my iron hot. We'll just press everything down. And if you have some spots that are a little bit wonky, wonky is okay because we're going to zigzag along all the seams. Then all I need to do is flip this over, trim off the area that went over the 8-inch mark. And I could use this one for my state of Ohio shape one. And this one is now ready to take to the sewing machine. I think that's really pretty. And we'll just zigzag anywhere there's a seam. And that block will be complete soon. Then we'll take our pellon. This one might be a little more challenging. I wasn't really sure how I was going to accomplish this because I want to do 4 different fabrics. I think I have an idea. I just need to make sure they're all lined up. I think I'll cut along here and cut along here. We'll see what happens. I hope I don't regret that. I just want to be able to have that crazy quilt look with this one as well. Then I'll come and cut here. Let's see what happens. Get my center here. So we'll take one from that pile, one from this pile. Here's this one and that one. That's what I was going for. Now I am going to stick a pin in here because the tricky part, I'm not sure how tricky it'll be, but how about challenging part? It may not even be challenging. But what I need to do is get a border. Let's see what I can do here. Perhaps put this here. Bring this up a little. All right, I think that will work. On this side, we'll do like that maybe. Or do we want it straight? We'll try that. And then maybe here we'll go with that. And I can just cut this off here. And over here, we'll continue down with this one. And you could mix this up, grabbing some other fabrics. Perhaps you have a pink theme going on. I'm only doing this because it was red, white, and blue, and I'm kind of limited on those fabrics. All right, there's that. And I had this one. And then I just need a little piece for right there. That wasn't too challenging at all, right? Once I stitch around, I think I'll stitch around in red. It will be more pronounced. But now we're ready to take the iron for this one. It is pretty wonky, isn't it? That is perfectly fine. And all we have to do, again, I'll save these because I can do more quilt blocks with the rest of my pieces for that state of Ohio. Move some fabric out of the way here. I am ready to trim this. The magic of this is you could do any type of quilt block. The only part I don't like are cutting out the little pieces, but honestly, it didn't take that long. What if you did the prairie quilt and then had the state of Texas? And those were the two blocks, but they were all wonky fabrics. I think that would be so pretty. This one is ready for the sewing machine. And what I'm doing with these crazy quilt blocks, anywhere there's a seam, I'm just putting a zigzag stitch. I will take you over for some of the sewing. I'm going to go set that up now. I have red thread in the sewing machine. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch. I'm going to try to go around the state of Ohio the best I can. Some of you were asking, how do you baste? And I use Elmer's glue if I baste. Normally I don't. I just go for it and trim later. But my go-to method when I do baste is the Elmer's glue. You don't want a lot. It dries fast, it dries clear, and it washes out. And I've never had any challenges with it gumming up my needle. So I'm just going to make sure I have everything even here. And then we're just going to go for it. I think I'll start up here in the corner. And again, I'm just going with the center. I think I'll give myself 4.5 as far as a stitch width. And let's see how this goes. Just take your time around the corners. It's not going to be perfect. There's a lot of curves in this design. There is a seam down here. So I think I'll go ahead and take that. No, I'll come back and do that seam. We had a seam here that I want to go ahead and do real quick. Next, what I want to do is where I joined these pieces together. I want to go ahead and sew those. And then I'll go ahead and do this one. Then I want to go ahead and sew a seam, the seam here that I have. There's one here, and I'll go ahead and do some quilting right there. I see that I had a seam right there. And then I had a tiny one at the tip of Ohio. And there is that one. That is so pretty. Wonky, yes. And then here's what the back looks like. It's all quilted. Let's work on the other one. I'm not sure if I want to do red. I think I will stay consistent and do red, but I think I need another bobbin. We're all set there. I think what I'll do, I'll start and go around the center. And I'm going to go ahead and hit this seam while I'm down here. And I'll do this one. I normally don't come in from the edge, and I shouldn't do it with that one. I'll come like this. And then we will do this one. This one I didn't do very well on, so we're just going to do another one right beside it, which is perfectly okay. There. And then we'll have to do this one. Next, I will go through and do all of these and even the little ones. I will turn off the camera for this and then I'll come back and show you. I also want to show you how I join the two together. I'll be right back. I do want to show you a little bit of this. I'm just going where I can go until I don't have to, until I don't have a space to sew. Anywhere where there's a line, I can come down here and then I could come over here, come down and up, and I'll just keep going like that. Wherever I have a seam to sew on, so this led me here. And I'll turn around and I'll just come down this way. And I'll turn around and come down this way. I do have a way to come back up. And because I'm not very good at cutting, not all of my seams are going to be perfect, and that's fine because this is a crazy quilt. So don't even worry about it. Just have fun with it. Okay, you get the idea. I just wanted to show you how to do the interior, and you just keep going until you don't have any seams left. Isn't that pretty? I just love how it turned out. Here's the back. There's something wonky going on with my bobbin and my thread, it looks like. But it is secure, and I'll just have to take a peek at that. Not sure what's happening, but it is perfectly fine. Now I wanted to show you how I would combine these. So I have my two, let me move this back. So here are both blocks. When I put these together, I'm thinking that I'll start from this side and then have Ohio, and then another one of these, and then Ohio. But all the Ohios will be different because I cut them into 4s. All that to say, if you wanted to combine them, you'll just lay them pretty sides together as such, which is why we did the border. Next, you can pin or combine or whatever you want to do, but I'm going to do a 3/8 inch seam allowance. If you want, you can cut out a little bit of the batting, but I'm not going to, just to reduce bulk. But we're going to do 3/8 of an inch, and then I'm just going to do a straight stitch length at 2. And I'm just checking to make sure I'm combining them correctly. Let me look again. Yes, that's how I want it to be combined. So yes, I do want to sew this seam with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. We'll see where 3/8 is. And look at that, I have it right. And do a back stitch. Now these are combined. You can see I went up a little bit there. If I wanted, I could come back in here and kind of straighten that out a little bit. There we go. This is combined. What we're going to do next is press these seams open, and I'll go do that real quick. Okay guys, I got the seams pressed open. Just ignore my terrible sewing. I'm not an expert, but this is the premise. You get this seam pressed open. You're going to take some of your seam binding. I just made some because I didn't have any. And this is 1-inch seam binding. And you're just going to take enough. This is muslin. I made it myself, the seam binding. You'll just lay the seam binding on there and get enough that you need. I always go a little more. And what you're going to do is you center this right on there, and you're going to sew all the way down to on the edge. Let's see if I can show you. You're going to sew all the way down on the edge here on this side. You'll sew all the way down the edge on this side, and you will see the thread that's in your bobbin on the other side, which I don't mind. If you want, you could lay some glue in here and that would be fine. Just a little. Just so you can get that in the center. It will dry clear, and that will give you some hold. Now let's say you were joining on the top. You would leave a 1/2 inch up here, if that makes sense. So that when you were joining, you could join them together and have that 3/8 seam allowance, but then you would put a strip of this seam binding along this top. I hope that makes sense, but you'll have to, I will link the video in the description box below so that you can learn how to do it correctly. But for the purposes of crazy quilting, this works just fine. I'm going to go ahead and sew on each side right to the edge. And this seam binding is 1 inch. I just took a 2-inch piece of muslin and folded it to the center. Then you'll flip this around, and if there's anything out here, you could, this is just the fabric itself, but if you had any batting or any fabric sticking out, you could trim that. All right, down this side, right on the edge. And just make sure you caught the edge. Yep, we did. And then you could trim it. And here they are combined. And you really, it's really hard to see with the 2.0 stitch length where it was sewn. but I think that looks really great. And then here's the back again. I think that's very, very pretty, very primitive, country looking. And you could do 6 across, maybe 6 down. But these blocks take me very little time. What took me the most time is cutting out these little triangles, but I'm sure there's a trick to that. And I'm just showing you using the zigzag stitch. You will want to take advantage of all those decorative stitches if you have them on your sewing machine for these projects. Use different colored threads. Pick a quilt block that's your favorite. Like I said, I would like to try the Prairie Star and then have Texas over here. The possibilities are endless. You can use whatever you want for a backing. This could actually be on the front, and then you would join it on the back. So many possibilities. Let me know what you think in the comments. I really appreciate your comments. I appreciate the love on my videos. Be sure to check out my video on making the easiest crazy quilt block with scrap fabric. You'll love how it turns out. And until the next video, God bless.